I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
Trump promised mass deportations. Now he's handpicked the man to carry out the plan.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
Today, we're asking about the new Border Czar.
We're going to continue to see a number of people that have disturbing histories being appointed to many of these positions.
And what his appointment means for immigrants in the U.S.
I am scared for a lot of my family members.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
Good afternoon. I'm Juliette Goodrich in for Liz. President-elect Trump's border policy is starting to take shape. He's chosen a so-called Border Czar. It's a familiar face. He led ICE and ran the border during part of Trump's first presidency. Today, we'll ask what we can expect from him and what will be different this time around. All right, moving on now. President-elect Trump says that he'll start a mass deportation plan to remove every undocumented immigrant in the U.S. from day one in office. As Christian Benavides reports from West Palm Beach, Florida, he's already named 2 people likely to lead that effort.
Vote Republican and we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
President-elect Donald Trump's vow to begin deporting undocumented immigrants helped sweep him into office, and now he's putting the people in place to make it happen. Trump posted Sunday on Truth Social that he is naming former ICE Director Tom Homan as his Border Czar. Homan defended Trump's signature pledge on 60 Minutes last month.
I've seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Homan recommended the zero-tolerance policy during Trump's first administration, resulting in undocumented immigrants being separated from family members who were citizens. He told 60 Minutes this time will be different.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
CBS News has also confirmed Stephen Miller, a vocal advocate for strong immigration policies during Trump's first term, will be Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Neither Homan nor Miller need Senate confirmation, but Trump is pushing for the new Republican-controlled Senate to move quickly to confirm the rest of his cabinet. Trump also picked a pair of New York lawmakers to join his administration. He tapped Congresswoman Elise Stefanik for U.S. Ambassador to the UN and former Congressman Lee Zeldin to head up the Environmental Protection Agency.
So Trump posted on social media calling for the winner of this week's Republican Senate leadership race to pledge support for recess appointments, letting him bypass Senate confirmation for top roles. Former President Trump's plans on promising a security on the border back in September before the election. A Scripps News poll found 54% of people supported his plan for mass deportations. Tom Homan says mass deportations are not threatening to the immigrant community, but they should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community. And he told 60 Minutes they need to be done.
Well, let me tell you what's not going to be first. It's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous.
But if mass deportation is not going to be, as you said, massive sweeps and concentration camps,
There'll be concentrated,
what is it?
There'll be targeted arrest. We'll know who we're going to arrest, where we're most likely to find them based on numerous investigative processes. I don't use the term raids, but you're probably talking about worksite enforcement operations, which this administration pretty much stopped.
Workplace enforcement, that's a roundup.
And that's going to be necessary.
The American Immigration Council says there are at least 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. CBS News asked ICE, under Trump's plan, how would it be possible to make all of those arrests?
I could say here in Maryland, we would never be able to resource or find that amount of detention, which would be our biggest challenge, right? And just the amount of money that would cost in order to detain everybody, it would be, at the Department of Defense level of financing.
The American Immigration Council also says deporting 1 million people per year could take 1,000 new courtrooms for processing. Meantime, dreamers fear it could be a nightmare after Trump takes office. Next, hear from some California college students who are afraid about their future, even scared to step foot on campus. Plus, we'll ask an immigration expert about the border policies from the first Trump presidency and the potential impact of mass deportations. Welcome back. The election of Trump as president has some California students concerned about their future here in the U.S., and that includes recipients of Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. Danny Miskell talked with some of those dreamers who live closer to the border.
I have friends who were scared coming to campus for the first couple of classes because they don't know if checkpoints will be open. They don't know if these policies are going to start going in place immediately.
This was a very different morning for Juan Sanchez coming to school at Cal State San Marcos. He tells me the election results are making him feel
just the wave of sadness. I have a lot of family, friends, and people I really care about that are going to be really affected.
Juan says he's comfortable sharing that he's a mixed status student.
So mixed status students are just students such as myself who have family members who are undocumented.
Because of his status, he's been fully plugged in to the university's Dreamers Resource Office.
It's really providing a safe environment for our students.
Viridiana Diaz is the vice president of student affairs. She tells me the campus has undocumented students enrolled from around the world. It's why the university created the Dreamers Resource Office. It helps students with free legal advice, assistance with applying for private scholarships, counseling, and more.
Our undocumented students have always have to live in fear. They're not really able to plan the way that most 18 to 25-year-olds are planning the future in terms of what they want to do 3 years from now, 5 years from now, because they don't really know what the future holds for them.
Diaz tells me post-election, the resource office will focus on helping students like Juan feel supported.
This might not be affecting me personally, but it's affecting people that I really love.
We want to get to some developing news. As former President Trump continues to build his cabinet, he has just announced he picked Congressman Mike Waltz as a national security advisor. And this comes as control of the House is still up in the air. So joining me now is USF professor Bill Ong-Hing. He's the author of Humanizing Immigration. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's begin with the newly appointed Border Czar. What do we know about Tom Homan?
Tom Homan began as a Border Patrol officer, and he worked his way up in the system. He became very active in the Border Patrol Union that endorsed Donald Trump way back, and he got the ear of then President Trump, and he has the experience of being the acting ICE director in the last couple of years of the Trump administration.
So is a Border Czar an official position?
It's not. It's nowhere to be found in any part of the landscape of the executive branch. It's an invented position that does not have to receive Senate confirmation. So it's yet to be seen how much authority he actually will have.
His interviews on 60 Minutes were pretty straightforward, pretty direct. It's kind of like, no messing around. Agree?
Agreed. And I thought it was pretty harsh when he acknowledges that there are families that have U.S. citizen children, but the parents might be undocumented. Mm-hmm. And when he was asked, well, what do we do about that? He said, well, we can deport entire families. And of course, you cannot deport U.S. citizens, even though they're little children. But the truth is that he can wreak havoc. I mean, he can advise ICE to round up those parents. And if both the parents are leaving, in fact, they may be able to get the kids to go along with them, even though it's not counted as an official deportation. But people are afraid of that happening.
Yeah, here's where you come in. Very important information, since you've spent time at the border and with migrants trying to cross into the U.S. What do you want people to know about that population that maybe most people don't?
I really think that people should just take a step back and ask, who are these individuals at the border and why are they there? Let's put a face on them. And what I have found, and I go a couple times a year, is that these are folks that are desperate. They're fleeing violence. They are in very bad circumstances. They're not trying to come here to do harm or to get public benefits. They really just want an opportunity to show that they're fleeing persecution. And I think we should take some time and really try to understand their situation rather than just treat them as statistics.
So if they are successful in deporting 1 million people or more, how would that change our country? And what about the potential economic implications?
Oh, my goodness. There was an estimate, of course, that it would cost over $80 billion just to deport. Well, you can triple that amount in terms of the effect on the economy. You're talking about deporting people, not just people who are farm workers or restaurant workers or construction workers, but you're talking about people that are working in Silicon Valley. You're talking about individuals that work in every aspect of the U.S. economy, and we're going to be hurt. Every one of us is going to be hurt if, in fact, that deportation takes place.
So what is the actual deportation process? Do people have to go to court? If they do, how long does that take?
Yes, that's an excellent question. If you're rounding up somebody who's never had a hearing before, they have a right to a hearing in front of an immigration judge. And the folks that have lived here for more than 10 years, and of course that's true of all the dreamers, the DACA recipients, they have a right to apply for relief. They can apply for something called cancellation of removal if they've lived here for more than 10 years. They won't all get it, but those who have U.S. citizen children who might suffer hardship, they have a chance. Those hearings take a long time. And so there's been an estimate, and you heard a little bit of that in your earlier clip, that they're going to need to probably quadruple the number of immigration courts in the country. That means hiring more immigration judges to handle these cases. You're talking about a system that's already bogged down. It's going to take years and years and years to go through the hearings that these individuals have a right to.
Okay, last question. So just a reminder, Tom Homan, charge of ICE for part of the last Trump presidency. Do you think he's going to run it a little bit differently this time? Or is he going to have a return of policies like the family separation?
I think that he's going to do family separation again for sure. He's not being appointed to head ICE. He's being appointed to this crazy position that we've never heard of before officially. And he's going to recommend that they engage in all different types of hardship endeavors. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see children being separated from their parents again.
All right. Professor Bill Ong-Hing, thank you so much for your insight and your time this afternoon. We'll certainly be checking with you for more on this. Thanks so much for watching. To view more content like this, we've selected some videos we think you'll enjoy. So please be sure to hit like and then click the link in the left-hand bottom corner to subscribe.